People are full of surprises, especially when you travel together. Thankfully, Vrbo is not. When you book a Vrbo, you get Vrbo Care and 24/7 live support, so your house doesn't surprise you like your friends might. If something's not as described or doesn't work, Vrbo's there. Real people, real support, anytime. Book today on the Vrbo app. If you know, you Vrbo. Terms apply. See vrbo.com/trust for details.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bullspend, and marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had: impressions.
Cut the bull spend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Stand by for picture. First positions, everyone. Yo, go.
And action! Hello and welcome to episode 404 of the Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk
filmmaking.
From indie film to studio films to high-end TV to documentaries and...
well, there isn't really anything else in between.
how to get them made, how to make them...
and how to royally F them up.
Yeah, in our very, very humble opinion. I'm Giles Alderson.
I'm Dom Lenoir.
We are both writers, directors and producers, and if you really want to watch our films, then do. Links to them are in the show notes, but do go support if you haven't yet. On today's show, we have Nicole Payon. She is the director of Friendsgiving, but also the recently released The Kill Room, starring Uma Thurman and Samuel L. Jackson. And Dom Lenoir had a chat with Nicole and discussed lots of great things. What will our audience learn, Dom?
Well, this is not your average nickel and dime interview.
Nice.
Just to start with that one. And as we had Jeff Nichols last week, you could call this a musical accompaniment akin to Nickelback, because we've got two Nichols.
Wow.
So there we go. Yeah. Anyway, puns and fun aside, because there is a bit of fun
Please.
in this episode.
Put them aside.
So we'll learn how to cast A-list actors in your film. I mean, that was Uma Thurman and Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, they're not like small casts, and they're not the kind of cast that you often get on your first, second, or even third film.
Yes.
I mean, they're cast that you'd expect on very, very high budget productions, like a Tarantino film or such like. So I mean, it's a really good achievement, and Nicole has also done a contained and very achievable type of drama as well. So it's really impressive what she's managed to pull off, and just how she managed to attach these kind of level people to her production, and how her attitude and her networking kind of got her there. And I think just being a nice person and working the channels really seems to have paid off for her.
This is an incredible achievement with The Kill Room, which is out now. It also stars Maya Hawke, Joe Manganiello, and Debbie Mazar, as well as some other amazing cast in this film, which really is impressive, as Dom has said. Nicole, she is pretty much a comedian. That's where she comes from, and she's worked her way up. She did The Groundlings. She also was in My Big Gay Sketch Show, Punk'd, Funny or Die, and she was also in Funny People as Adam Sandler's sister. She's now a member of the sketch comedy troupe The Deviants. But in 2020, she wrote and directed the comedy Friendsgiving, which was a debut movie for Saban Films, and it stars Marlon Ackerman, Kat Dennings, Aisha Tyler and Chelsea Peretti, as well as James Seymour. So she's had this wonderful lift and this journey as an indie filmmaker, getting stuff out there and just managing to attach amazing cast.
And it's a very different route in as well.
It's an amazing route in. She's done really well. So you will learn how you can do that as well, coming up for you on this week's episode of the Filmmakers Podcast. I'm going to give some shout outs to some amazing people over the last couple of weeks. Leon Salivant, Teresa Godley, Jay Silverman, whose latest film Camera is out very soon. We're hoping to get him back on the podcast because he has been on in the past. And Owen Tooth, huge shout out to him. And also Neil Marshall might be popping back on for another chat about his latest film, speaking of returning guests, as well as Phil Hawkins to chat about Robin and the Hoods. Yeah, returning amazing people. We love it. Robin and the Hoods is out 4 weeks' time, so we will be recording that very soon. By the way, last week we said that we were going to have Twister's exec producer on. We changed our mind, or we lied, one of the two. However, the movie's not out till the 17th of July, so we're dropping in Nicole now for that very reason. Dom, we did the panel the other week, didn't we, down at the Kingston International Film Festival. How was that?
It was great. It was a shame we didn't record it. I was very funny. I was very funny.
We tried. Yeah. We really tried, because do you know what? Our panel was amazing, and the insights they gave on not only the tax credit and how films are getting made and how documentaries and TV is getting made, but there was some really great tidbits. Teresa Godley was actually there, and I saw her writing notes. So if you've got them, Teresa, pass them along, because I can't remember. I just know it was really good, and I thought we were recording it, and we didn't. Very sad. Just didn't record, did it?
Almost too sad. It was. It was really good fun. We had a great panel of kind of filmmakers from the UK and America, and yeah, I mean, just it was a very. We had Sam Amper from Elliot's, so we had the tax credit shenanigans. We had sales agent opinions. It was just a good sort of overall picture of where the UK industry's heading and where the US industry's heading. I think the prognosis is the American industry is doing okay, but if the strikes happen, then for crew, which they're hoping they won't, then that could be a bit of a bummer. But great for the UK, and so is the tax credit. So the UK slowly looks like it's in a positive trajectory. America, neutral, could go worse, could go better, and we had great fun hosting. Yeah,
it really is good news. So do understand it. Get what the film tax credit is about. We have done a couple of podcasts on this now. Go to our website, thefilmmakerspodcast.com, and type in film tax credit, and you'll find those podcasts. There's also a blog on it as well if you want to read up on or have knowledge on your film tax credit for your next film. Get on it. Right, shall we play the trailer for The Kill Room and then dive into the podcast with you and Nicole, Dom?
Why not?
Why not indeed? Right, here it is.
When you make art from a truthful place, people find out something about you.
We're a team, right?
Yeah.
We need to find a new way to deal with the money.
Customer of mine was short of cash. Gave me that instead.
And where's she at?
The city.
Nate was mentioning you were having a cash problem.
Well, my business is no business of yours.
Well, not right now, but I think we might be able to help each other out.
What am I supposed to paint?
You want to make money? Just paint something. All right, I'll paint. Damn, that is ugly. So from now on, there's a contract out. I suggest they buy art.
Art? What the frig do you know about art?
This classy art gallery run by this young lady will take a reasonable cut for herself and cut us a nice, clean check.
My 5-year-old makes better paintings.
That's the beauty of this, you cretin. This thing that looks like a Smurf with diarrhea can sell for $1 million, and the IRS wouldn't bat an eye.
What's the artist's name?
Bagman.
The Bagman.
Are you the Bagman?
Tell me about the Bagman.
I would never say it's a good piece, but it makes me feel dirty. Ooh.
An art critic wants to do a piece on.
Oh, la-di-da.
When I hear no, it makes me want something even more.
This thing's supposed to be a front. That means low profile. Why do I even have to tell you this is not good?
I knew that money laundering was a crime, but murder?
I'm sorry, we don't have any work from the Bagman available.
There's an extremely long wait list of collectors.
Everybody wants one.
Clean, like laundry.
Are you really mansplaining money laundering to me?
So Nicole, I mean, welcome to the podcast. We're delighted to have you.
Thank you.
How are you feeling right now? Your movie's complete. It's kind of soon to be out there. Yeah. How's everything going?
Good. It's a bit hectic this week, with press, and my hometown is throwing me a big bash of a premiere. There's 500 people coming, so there's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot happening there, and it feels good. It's no movie, as I'm sure is easy to make, and
no, not at all.
And truly, this movie was made for an audience. It wasn't made for Hollywood insiders or anybody but people in the theater to have fun, to go enjoy, see a little bit of a nostalgic kind of classic movie. Mm-hmm. And we're here now. And so it's exciting. It's exciting.
How do you sort of feel about the review process and, getting it out to an audience? I mean, do you like take much notice of critics? Is it kind of like, well, it's done now, it's out of my hands, I'm going to sort of put it out of mind? Because it's, it's a very intense time. You spent, years on a project, finally have to sort of allow people to have their own opinions on it. How do you sort of cope with that and deal with that process?
Yeah, so everyone's entitled to their opinion. I find it odd. I find a critic's job very odd because no one knows what goes into making a movie. No one knows what decisions the director had to deal with, whether it's financial or creative. I mean, by and large, creatively, it's the director's decision, but sometimes there are things that just are out of the director's hands. So I don't read any reviews. I tell people, do not send them to me, because if you believe the good ones, you got to believe the bad ones. Yeah. It's really, this is my life, my process, and this is my second movie, and there's a third and a fourth in there, and it was a huge jump for me going from Friendsgiving, which was, in one house, and it was more of a straight up comedy. And this was about to be the build of character and the build of story when we were developing the script. And I was developing it with Jonathan Jacobson. And make no mistake, when I was given the script, it was all there. He wrote a brilliant script. We just we took 2 years to just make it even better than what it was. And so I don't read any reviews. I don't, it's not that I don't care what people think. I do, certainly, but I'm not going to let it weigh on me, because I know the story behind certain things, and there are certain things that you just have to kind of live with.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I think that I always kind of look at it with two sort of sides to it. One is that a Joe audience, especially if they're not in the film industry, will have no idea of what the realities of making, any kind of film are, let alone sort of an independent film. And I suppose the second thing I always think about is, well, does an audience member actually, can they actually relate to the film anyway? I mean, some people just will never understand a certain perspective or position, and other people will intensely relate to it, and it will feel incredibly personal to them. And there's always that variety in films. So I agree. I think it's very much about sort of getting the film out there, making it the best you can, and then it is what it is. You've put your sort of heart into it, and that's the next sort of phase for it.
Yeah, it's really for the ones that identify with it and the characters, and I think
hopefully not the serial killers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think what we did nicely was give every character an arc, and they're not just, because sometimes they're just serving the story, but every character in this movie has a want, a need, and a desire, which is important.
So what was the kind of the genesis of this project? So you'd made your other movie. We'll sort of go back to that a bit later. But how did this sort of come about to you in terms of you finding the script? You said it was in a good shape when it sort of came to you, but what was the nuts and bolts of the origin of actually getting this off the ground, basically?
Yeah, so when I first started, way back in 1990 or 97.
Okay, yeah.
I had a small production company in New York with some friends from NYU Film. And when I moved out to LA, I basically became a silent partner there and lived, I was acting, I was doing stand-up, I was doing improv, I was writing for 10, 15 years. My first movie comes out. And then my producing partner, his name is Christian Fraga from Cirque Productions. He called me and said, I have a script for you. I think that you would really like. And he was right. I did. I love the character Patrice. She's 5-dimensional. And I decided to take it on and develop it with Jonathan in April of 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. And we spent the better part of a year and a half developing it.
So you carried on through sort of COVID.
Yeah. Which it was there. I remember there were times during COVID, I was like, the world is falling apart. What am I doing? Why am I working on this? But it was sort of like, it was like a safety blanket.
I think if you're developing something, the COVID period was actually very good because it steps you back from the kind of rushing into getting something made, and it actually gives you that time for reflection and working on character development and story and all those kind of things. So
right, those important things.
Yeah,
those important things that like Hollywood sometimes often forgets about because there's such a fast-paced nature towards growth, and it's like you can't grow in an artificial way. Like it has to come from story and character.
Yeah, 100%.
And so it was August of 2021 when I signed on as a producer. And by November, I was sitting at lunch with Uma Thurman.
I mean, that's a fairly big leap.
Yes.
so how did we get from you developing the script for a couple of years over COVID to, because I mean the casting, even to understand at what point in the script development process you were thinking about cast would be really useful, because we are a sort of a filmmaking podcast, so it's really interesting to our audience.
Yeah, you're always thinking about cast, right? Those lists are just the most fun thing to do and imagine. And even to create a list, I try to only create like only 3 actors per character, because if there's too many, when I'm writing and developing, my head gets like, well, what if it's her? Yeah. What if it's her? It really is important, in my opinion, to write with someone in mind, because it informs the script and the screenplay. It informs the screenplay so much more than when you're just kind of writing this character that's up in the air and you don't have it grounded to a person. A few names were kicked around, but I had a friend, Danielle Thomas, who later became a producer on this movie. I've known Danielle Thomas. She is a partner at Untitled Entertainment. She is fierce. She is amazing. I've known her for 10, 15 years. She came to see me when I performed comedy at the Groundlings. So many, many moons ago. I was bothering her before I signed on as a producer. I was bothering her for about a year to read the script. Just
to read it.
Every couple of weeks. Yes, because I just felt, I love Untitled Entertainment. I think they have incredible clients. And I was like, it's set in New York. They have Broadway clients. They could, if they like it, it's a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Now, I did not look at I hadn't looked at Danielle's client list in a very long time. And knew her 15 years ago. I'll check, who she's signing and whatnot. And so I just wanted her to read it.
Yeah.
Then when I was on a walk with my fiance, and my fiance said, "Who is your ultimate Patrice?" And Uma Thurman flew out of my mouth. It was like visceral. And I didn't go and look on IMDb, see who her manager was, because we were on a walk. Mm-hmm. About a week goes by, Danielle Thomas called me and she said, I read the script. She was like, "This is Uma Thurman." And I was like, are you kidding me? I've had 3 moments like that in my career, and this was by far the biggest one.
Yeah.
The biggest synchronicity
of
all time. And I go, "Danielle, do you represent Uma Thurman?" And she goes, "Yeah, I'm talking to her in an hour. Can I give it to her?"
Wow.
And I went, yeah, you can give it to me.
Yeah, well, we might let that one go.
Yeah, we'll say yes on that. And Uma read it, and she loved it, and we sat down.
So what's the process in terms of? So I mean, this is something I think that English people maybe aren't quite as good at as American people, or Canadian, and anything that sort of North American territory, is being sort of persistent and in a sort of a positive way. I think in England people are like quite hard at sort of making those leaps. So how do you get in touch with this producer on a regular basis without overwhelming or overburdening, but still obviously sort of being persistent enough where you eventually get your script read?
I think the important thing is longevity and your reputation and how you are as a person. Like I've had dinners with Danielle. And not for any other reason other than
have dinner.
Just building a friendship with people and getting to know. So when my first movie came out, she read it and she loved it. And she had a few clients that she was pitching to me, and that didn't work out. But we always said like on the next one, or it's really about longevity and I hope being a good person, and also
big time.
Ben Stiller produced Friendsgiving, and Ben Stiller was a client of Untitled. So Untitled, people ask about you. They're not going to send any of their clients to crazy people who don't run a good set. Like Friendsgiving, Ben and I, we worked well together. Ben was in New York. He wasn't on set, but he was very communicative, and his partner, Nicholas Weinstock, was on set with me. And we developed a wonderful relationship. And so people find out about you and how your work ethic is. And I think that goes a long way. And so,
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like that Friendsgiving was like the first test, if you will, not test, but first opportunity to like prove yourself in many ways. And I guess I passed.
Yeah.
And so, when I sent Danielle's script, it took her a minute to read it because I'm sure she just gets other
stuff all the time.
Inundated. Right.
Yeah.
So every maybe month, 2 months, sometimes 3 months would go by, and I'd be like, "Hey, did you read that script yet? I'm telling you, you will love it." And the thing is, you can't send everything to everyone.
No.
Like certain pieces are right for certain people. And I knew Danielle is she's an art collector, and she represents all these amazing, talented people in New York. I just felt like it was perfect for her, and I was right.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point, and I really like that approach. About being nice, because I think it doesn't cost anything to be nice, and you do get remembered, and people immediately want to work with you again if they had a pleasant experience. But also not sort of casting the web too wide. I feel like for some people it does work, the sort of the mass networking, hundreds of emails to hundreds of people, and then like someone might sort of see something and get on board with it. But I find like for me, like any sort of meaningful work relationships, they're not something where I send them a project within the first couple of months of knowing them and they sign on board and then they work with me. Sometimes, they might not work on 2 or 3 things that I send them or they send me or whatever. And it's it's just about building an authentic, I think it's trust. That's kind of how it seems to me is trust with a good number of people that that you can really communicate with. And once you get to that point, you just find people on your projects. And it sounds like you've very much sort of done that with your producer for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's trust and longevity of like, oh, okay, not that project. We didn't get that one, but like, how about the next one? Or now, if somebody has one that they think I would be good for, then they send it back to me.
That's it. Yeah.
It's being in a rhythm with you really only need 5 producers.
Yeah.
To Like that could be your life. You really only need one, but in the beginning, to know and to cultivate relationships with like 5 producers, not 100. Like just 5 good ones that really trust you and really want to work with you. Then I think you're set.
Definitely. So okay, so we get to the point of you've got Uma to read the project. What's the next stages involving getting her to actually sign on to the project? What's the next stage of you communicating? I mean, were you in contact with her before she signed on? Like, how did that sort of work?
Yeah, so we had met in November, and the way it happens, the way I think it happens for me, or, the way it happened here was a lot of times creatives just jump in and wait. They'll wait for they jump in, and then the lawyers and the producers, they're talking on the side.
They're playing catch up.
Yeah, they're like talking on the side, but you're developing the rapport, you're talking creatively, and that was going on. And we were talking about cast, and we started talking about cast in, I say, December.
Yeah.
Uma and I, and then our producers asked me to sort of ask Uma about like who she thought would be good for the Gordon character. Or we were just talking in general about other cast members, and Uma asked me, she texted me and was like, is Sam Jackson an option? And I was like, I don't know. He's a little new at this. We need someone a little more seasoned than Mr. Jackson. I was like, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. You're not gonna turn down Samuel L. Jackson.
I mean, yeah. Like,
especially when he's referred to as Sam,
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. Reasonable rapport.
And the role was the role was Gordon was Herschel, and Herschel was 72-year-old Jewish man.
Yeah.
And so when Jonathan and I knew the script was going to Sam, we had one day to get it to him before the Christmas break.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so we had to completely rewrite the script. Now, I was visiting my fiance's family, and it was for Christmas, meeting them for the first time. I meet her brother, and I was like, hi, I'm going to need your bedroom because I need to write. So you feel like a horrible Hollywood person coming in over Christmas. Yeah. Hello, I have to write a script for Sam Jackson. Please move out of my way. Like, you just feel like a terrible person. Yeah. So while you're frantically typing, you're also like, they think I'm horrible.
Yeah.
And you just have to do it. It's
you do. Yeah.
You just have to do it. And so I sat on the bed, and Jonathan, and this is all Jonathan's credit, he came up with the black dreidel and the speaking Yiddish. And he and I were passing scenes back and forth, making sure there's no errors and spelling and all this stuff. And so it took us about 12 frantic hours to get it in proper shape, flying through it that day. And we got it to Sam before the Christmas break.
Yeah.
And then when the business year started, the first, week in January, I got a call from Sam's agent saying, Samuel L. Jackson would like to do your script.
Wow. That's amazing.
And that was on Friday afternoon, and I was like floored.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, what a moment. It's not one you have every day of the week. So do you think the endorsement from Uma, and also I suppose doing something that maybe is against type for Sam, like, and obviously your pitch, do you feel like they all had weight in terms of getting him on board? What was it going through the process of like trying to get him to say yes, involving that?
I think it was just Uma and the script.
Yeah.
Like developing and writing a good script.
Yep.
And Uma's producing, and he knows Uma, and
yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? How you get one bit of the puzzle, and it's putting the rest together becomes fascinating.
Yes, I'm not going to say it's easy because it took me 15, 20 years to be able to get that puzzle, like get access to that one piece of the puzzle. But yeah, it is all about who you know in Hollywood, but I would like to like rephrase that. It's about who you get to know.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone.
Yeah. I suppose it's people skills, isn't it? It's because even at that level, like they want to work with someone that's nice and knows what they're talking about and has a good project and understands story because they want to know that they're in safe hands, I suppose, at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I was really sure not to, you don't want the script to be out there. Like you get one chance.
Yeah.
These people to read it. And so they're not going to say no if a period is missing.
No.
But they're going to say no if the characters are not well developed and thought out.
Definitely.
And so the problems that you have when you're writing that's a gift because those problems are gifts for you at that moment for you to solve. And they're obstacles for you to solve then because when someone's reading them, you don't want them to go, just didn't grab me.
You may think you know McDonald's drinks, but you don't know them like this. From fruity refreshers like the Strawberry Watermelon Refresher and the Mango Pineapple Refresher with popping boba, to crafted sodas like the Sprite Berry Blast with berry-flavored Sprite topped with cold foam. Who knew ice-cold drinks could be so fire? 6 all-new drinks are here. Try them all, now at McDonald's. Refreshers contain caffeine.
What was the sort of the feedback from Uma and Sam in terms of the characters? Was there any like notes to rewrite the script? Were they generally happy? Was it kind of then at that point discussing how you saw the characters versus them? Like how was that collaboration as it sort of started to form?
Yeah, so Uma and I, we sat down and we dug into Patrice and her why and her how and it was important just not to have the character be just somebody who was like on drugs because it was cool. And that was like, we wanted to sort of place less emphasis on that because we've seen that. And we also wanted it to be like, for her, why to come out sort of in the middle of the movie, which is like a little bit of a shift for both Reggie and Patrice in that, you find out why they are the way they are in the middle as opposed to the beginning, because it's like in the beginning, I think your retention for that is lower.
Yeah.
But when you're watching someone in this, you don't know why. And there's just sort of there's drama around them everywhere they go. And then they go, well, this, and then you go, then you realize it. You're like, now you're on board in a different way because you've already invested with the person. And I think it's important to have amazing actors who can embody that from the start, where it's not coming out of their mouth. It's just in their how they walk around and how they embody their life.
And I suppose also, I mean, what you're saying there is it's about not giving everything up front to the audience at the start of the movie. It's letting them, I suppose it's letting them bond with the characters and, wonder about what, how they got to where they are and then revealing it later. It's those breadcrumbs that kind of make performances and story structure sort of so fascinating.
Absolutely.
So how did you then go into the sort of the production design, cinematography planning? Like what's your process there? Do you do a lot of mood boards? Is it very visual? How did you even figure out your crew? Like, was it people you'd worked with before?
No, it was largely a new crew for me. I will mood board you to death. It's just so important. It's
specific,
it tells
isn't it?
you everything. You have to get like very specific on everything. And we also, things change a lot especially with independent films with like locations. Like you think you're going to get one thing and because I was looking from Los Angeles at art galleries, and we had to shoot in New Jersey because of the tax credit. And I looked at about 4 or 5 different art galleries. I was like, oh, yes, we could absolutely shoot in New Jersey. From LA, I was looking. And, one of them burned down. There was a fire. And the other, all the practical nature of it. We ended up finding a workspace for the program gallery, and my production designer, don't worry, I'll get back to your question. My production designer, Maita Perez Nieves, she blew my mind in her deck, in her presentation to me.
Amazing.
It was, I was blown away. I was like breathless because she perfectly captured the mood of the movie. And it's also, I knew what I wanted specifically, but you don't send out the mood board when you're hiring people. They don't see you sort of you see what I like to see, what they bring to the table and their vision of it is. And again, if their vision isn't like dead on, it's okay. But I don't want to impress upon them with my vision before our first initial meeting.
Yeah, sure.
Because
it's giving people the freedom to have their own interpretation before you could then guide the ship in the direction that you want to go in, I suppose. Because you're the filter, aren't you, as the director? It's not just you're not just here to dictate. You're here to absorb.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I don't I've been on a lot of sets where there are dictators, and I'm like,
yeah.
I feel, and those whatever, that's someone else's process. Amazing. Mm-hmm. Good on you. But filmmaking is such a collaborative process. It's like I can't know every single minute aspect of a film in all directions in terms of sound, light, picture, design. And so her mood board was just brilliant, and I was sold immediately. And she had and I enjoyed our first discussion. She was very passionate about it. And so Maita was the woman for me.
Amazing.
And thankfully so. She really, I thought she did an incredible job, and under very, very difficult circumstances. They didn't give her a lot to work with. So
yeah. And I suppose it's quite an important part, the production design. And I suppose, going from that into the cinematography, again, like a film that is very art focused.
Yes.
I suppose framing is, and palettes and colors and all of those things are quite important things to consider in how you display, the artists in the characters. So how did you sort of put together those ideas and that vision for the visual side? Again,
just with a ton of mood boards and a ton of meetings. We would meet every day to discuss each part of the script, and we were shooting on anamorphic lenses, and so that they stretch things out, and so it was important for us to have. We tried to have art that was, in landscape as opposed to the other way. And
portrait.
Yeah, portrait. It was just a ton of talking, and our offices were next to each other, and it was like setting up meetings every day and going through the visuals, the mood, the look, the mood, and what and where we're shooting. I mean, you really, the director, cinematographer, and production designer, you're like the holy trinity, and you have to be all working together and completely on the same page. And if you're not, you have to sort of hammer it out. And we did, it wasn't always easy, but it was really important that the art in the film represented the artist in a different way, that the art in Annika's gallery and that show represented something completely different from, say, Grace's art, and then the art at Art Basel, and not only having to find artists the correct mood and the vibe and the look to fit within what we were trying to tell. But while we were trying to tell it, how are we filming this? It was a lot in the limited time that we had.
Yeah.
I would say time was our biggest, enemy, time and money, as always.
How long did you roughly have to shoot, if you don't mind?
We shot for 25 days.
Okay, yeah. So it's that's a tight shoot. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
was there anything in the script that didn't make it into the final edit? Like, were there any pickups that you needed to do? What were some of the big challenges that you had to solve through the shoot and going into the edit?
Yeah, so right smack in the middle of the film, there's a moment when Reggie punches the goon when they kind of confront them in front of the program gallery, and Reggie punches him. That was a huge action scene.
Yeah.
Supposed to be a huge action scene. And Jonathan and I wrote this brilliant scene in Coney Island, and it was perfect amount of action, but levity. There was some fun to it. I was really proud of it. I'm really excited to shoot it, but our producers felt that Coney Island was a little too expensive. So they were like, well, let's do it in a park in New Jersey. And I was like, you're going to go from Coney Island to Uma jumping over a blade of grass in New Jersey? So then I found an amusement park that was deep in Jersey, and then it was like it was whittled down by production, and I did not feel comfortable with what I was given, and I wasn't about to shoot an action scene that was anything below what Uma Thurman deserved. Yeah, and Joe, Uma and Joe, come on, they're two titans of cinema. I'm not gonna put them in a park in New Jersey, and I just, because then they'll say, oh, women can't direct action, and it's like, well, no, you have to have stunt days. You have to have time to do this.
Yeah, choreography and planning and all those things. Yeah,
I'm not just doing it on the fly. I just it broke my heart to cut it, but there are some things that you just can't do on the fly. And that is a huge action scene. I'm just, because it gets dangerous too. And I wasn't about to put anybody in that position. And so,
yeah. And that's a great piece of advice as well for filmmakers is if you can't do something in the way that you want to, sometimes it is better to lose it and focus your energy somewhere else or adapt it. Than to go ahead if it's not going to be the thing that you're passionate about, and if it's not going to be at the standard that you're interested in. It really is about the choices of things you lose as much as what you keep in the film that sort of make the quality of it, for sure.
Absolutely, kill your darlings, but
exactly, yeah.
I now, knowing what I know and knowing what we've been through, I absolutely am 100% happy that I made that decision because it was the right one. And then we had to rewrite the ending. I had to completely rewrite the ending because Joe came down with COVID when we were in Miami. So we had 2 days of shooting in Miami, and then Joe was out.
Right.
And so the scene that you see Uma and Joe staring at the green boat, when they're like, you really think that's going to make it to Cuba? And they're kind of, she's like, whatever anybody says, we're making art. That was a reshoot in New Jersey. The back of them were the stand-ins from Miami. So the back was stand-ins Miami, and the front was, plastic palm tree Amazon, from Amazon, palm tree leaves from Amazon. Yeah. In New Jersey.
Amazing, yeah. It's those solutions, and so many of the time, if you've done it well, people will never realize. I mean, I in one of my films, I had to dress up in a woman's coat to do a mid-shoulder shot on a cliff, and no one's ever noticed it. And you just have to find those kind of moments.
It's sort of fun, isn't it?
It is when you get away with it, and it's like
yeah,
exactly, yeah. Just going back to you finished the the editing process. How do we go back to the start of your career? Like, how did you get into everything? Was it acting? You said was the sort of genesis of your creative journey?
I basically now it all makes sense, but I've basically done every aspect of filmmaking, including raising money. So I worked on Wall Street in my early 20s.
Wow, that's really cool.
And I was a currency trader, and I had that was so bottom line, and it was crazy. It was a bit nuts. Like I worked for 3 companies that were laundering money, and I was like, this is insane. I'm out of here. But I started taking acting classes while I was on Wall Street, and I met one of my colleagues on Wall Street. He was like, a day after I was working with this manager was like, you should get into NYU student films. And a day later, I hadn't talked to this guy in like a year or so. He calls me up and he goes, I remember you were taking acting classes. Would you like to be in my cousin's NYU student film? And I was like, that was another moment of synchronicity where I was like, wait a second. That's strange. And so I called that manager and I was like, I'm in an NYU student film. Like the next day, he was like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And I honestly, I just kind of, I went with where my passion led me. And I was an actor in New York for a while, like digging into the improv scene and doing some plays, and I really just jumped in thinking I was going to be an actor.
Did you always have like an interest in storytelling, or was acting like a sort of, okay, I just want to try something new that's out of my comfort zone? I
did. Truthfully, I didn't realize it. I came from sort of a blue collar family. I didn't grow up in an artistic family. I realized when I was in high school, I made a movie. We were supposed to do a book report on Macbeth and Romeo and Juliet. And it was me and a bunch of like football players. And I was like, let's make a movie. And we made this movie. We got an A+. And even then at that moment, it didn't occur to me like, oh, maybe you're a filmmaker. I was just, yeah, I know. I'm like, it took me so many other years to realize it.
Yeah, to realize, yeah. I found it was like, I always liked stories, but I never realized I was going to be a filmmaker. It was just that all the other options didn't make sense. So I was looking at other careers and they just weren't working. And I was like, well, I'll do film until this, or I'll do film until that. And then suddenly you find yourself in it. And I feel like that you sort of end up finding yourself in those situations just because it is the right thing that you're kind of destined to do.
100%. And that's a really good point. I really tried to do all the other things.
Yeah.
I tried to do anything but, because it seemed so scary.
Did improv like really help in terms of flexibility and thinking on your feet? I mean, it seems like something that I know a few people that have done improv, and it's quite a scary thing to do, but it also is it's like real mental agility. Like, did that really help with your confidence, sort of growing as an actor and in general in the sort of creative world?
Absolutely. It actually helped a lot with directing as well. I mean, you're especially independent film. I mean, you have to pivot so many times, and you can't be focused on like, it's like in the moment now, yes, and let's get to it and let's create the magic right here, right now. And there's no other choices. And so, yeah, I see it all now. Like I worked on Wall Street, then improv, then stand-up, and then writing and storytelling and character development and all of that. When I first got to LA, I shadowed a commercial director for a good 5 years. Like he would put me on his commercials as an actor, and I would just sit next to him and watch him do his thing. And then when I was directing Friendsgiving, I was like on the bullhorn, and I was, there was 250 people, and I was trying to choreograph that. And I was here, you go there, that, and that. And I walked back to the video village, and I was kind of like, how do I know? Like, how do I know what I'm doing? I I've been in the business a long time, and I've sat and soaked up so many incredible, like, I mean, he won the award at Cannes for best commercials for 5 years in a row, and I got to sit next to him and just soak it all up.
And I suppose also as a creative, it's quite a valuable skill set that you've got the sort of producing technical side, and then you've got the creative side, and you've got this very well-rounded set of skills, because there are a lot of directors that are, they're very good on the visual side. They don't know how to work with actors, or they know how to work with actors, but they've got no clue about the logistics of how to actually, what something's going to cost and whether it's realistic. So it sounds like you amassed a lot of general experience before you actually dived into your kind of big directing career that stood you in really good stead.
Well, thank you. I think you're right. Like I just loved every aspect of it, and I wasn't worried about like money or any of that. I just felt like it's such a gift to be in a creative environment and to soak it all in. And my one acting teacher just said, like, you don't want to work before you're ready.
Yeah. Like
you think you're ready, and now there's a fine line there, right? Like,
yeah, definitely.
You don't want to hold yourself back because you're scared forever.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, but challenges are, again, they're just obstacles for you to handle, and to, especially as a director, you ask for what you want, and you sometimes get out of the way. I had A-list actors, Uma Thurman, Samuel Jackson, like, let them do their thing. Like, just have them come in and be who they are. I'm not going to like micromanage Samuel Jackson. Like, he's a brilliant man. He came in, he's a brilliant man who is an incredible professional, and he came in and just delivered, like, he hit it out of the park. Like,
was there any moments with those caliber of actors where you had to get past like nerves of giving them direction, or just to feel comfortable in that process? Because sometimes just going from someone like that, they have such a presence and a persona, and they're so switched on that, and you're a sort of a newer director compared to how many years they've been in acting, etc., etc. So how did you sort of navigate that set of challenges?
Well, at first I was like, I definitely want to have rehearsals, because
oh, okay, great. Yeah.
For the sake of rehearsing, and for that, like, getting to know one another. I think the really important thing a director to do is like learn how each actor's like psychology, how they like to be approached, how to talk to each person. Like, everybody's different.
Yeah.
There are some people that really love to improvise, and everything is like, yeah, let's try this, let's try that, Other people, and especially with the Kill Room, it wasn't really, we didn't improvise a lot. It was really, it was all there on the page.
Yeah.
And so I thought, let's have a couple rehearsals, and get to know one another. And they were great. As soon as it was my first rehearsal with Sam and Uma, and sure, I was nervous. I will fully admit that.
Yeah.
Uma was turning the knot of the lock on the door, and she turned around and she was like, "Let's get her, Sam." And that just took all the air out of the nervousness.
And that's why people like that are so brilliant, because they know as well. They know how to read people on an emotional level, and all it takes is one ice-breaking moment, and then you're into just a couple of creatives sort of discussing. So that's really nice to hear that kind of moment.
Yeah, and then we get to the work. Once you get to talking about the work,
that's it. Then you're just two people discussing. That's it. Yeah, and it's great that you had time to rehearse, because again, you get time to have that ice breaking ahead of the shoot, rather than first day of set. Oh my God, I've got to suddenly speak to massive actress
in front of everyone. There's a lot going on. There's things going wrong. There's
exactly.
And I'm not a big grandstander with notes. No. Like I like to, even if it's two people, like when Uma and Sam were on the bench, like I'll go up and just kind of like talk in someone's ear, like, hey, how about this? Or what it would like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not like, hey, you know, like
direction.
Right. It's a more personal thing. And I don't want the other actor to hear what the new thing is either, because I don't want them to adjust.
Yeah.
Because it's really about just who I'm speaking with.
Yeah, sure. So just jumping back to sort of fill in the gap between A and B. So how did you go from, so you're shadowing commercial director, you're learning to act, you're doing a bit of producing. How do you then go into making your first film? I mean, what's the step in terms of that first sort of big break in directing terms?
Yeah, so I was working at Funny or Die, Adam McKay and Will Ferrell's Funny or Die. I was writing, directing. I wasn't directing. I was writing, producing, and acting.
I mean, how did you even get that? I mean, that sounds like a good company.
Yeah, through the improv world. I did a stand-up show.
So you built up a name for yourself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I did a stand-up show with the head writer.
Amazing.
And she ended up hiring me.
Great.
To be a staff writer. And the Obama White House called Funny or Die.
Right.
And they asked for pitches on climate change.
Okay.
And we all pitched. It was Madam McKay, Will Ferrell, everybody pitched ideas and they picked mine. And so I got to work with Obama and John Podesta on this video.
That's outrageous.
Yeah. And then when John Podesta went over to run Hillary's campaign, he asked me to come with him to sort of help with any like sort of more fun videos for her campaign.
Yeah, so presidential campaign manager as well as filmmaker.
Yeah, sure. And I wrote and was producing this video on universal childcare, and the director couldn't make it for some reason. She couldn't show it.
Yeah.
And so they were like, Nicole, you're going to have to direct. And this is like 15 years in the business.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my stomach dropped. I was like, oh my God. Okay. I remember Amy Poehler saying like something like, you know, don't wait for you're ready. Just do it. And I'm like, okay, man, I'm going to listen to that advice. Thanks, Amy Poehler. And honestly, after I directed that video, I was like, are you kidding? Like,
she was right.
I've been a director like my whole life. I could see when I'm acting, how I'm thinking. When I was an actor, like I worked with Janusz Kaminski and Judd Apatow, and I was like in Funny People, and Adam, it was a scene with Adam Sandler, and I was like trying to listen to what they were saying as I'm sitting there with Adam, like, you know, just chatting in between takes. And I was like, what are they saying? Like, I was so interested in it all.
Yeah.
And it was that moment when I did the video and I directed the video for the Hillary Clinton campaign, my manager saw the video and I was writing Friendsgiving to write, but my manager was like, you are directing Friendsgiving. And I was like, we can do that? I can just say I'm directing it? And she was like, yes. Yeah.
Amazing.
And we are.
That's awesome. And again, it sounds like everyone around you has a lot of confidence in you as well. You know, to push you to take some of these leaps. I mean, you would have probably taken them anyway, but it's nice, and it shows what a good impression you've sort of given to a whole sort of gamut of people in the industry in these big sort of pivotal moments in your career.
Oh, thank you. I do have an amazing team, and I think. I think they just want to see me like fly, and I think we're starting to fly.
Definitely. What would you say are the biggest? Have there ever been moments when you weren't sure about sort of carrying on, or you've felt like you really had like barriers in the way of your next sort of career move? Like, have there been any real sort of downs that you've figured a way through?
Sure. I mean, every day I doubt, like, you know, because sometimes some things seem real, like, and then others don't. Like, when you're writing something, you're like, could this be real? You know, could this be made, or like, will someone like it? And I think think the biggest barrier for me was like my own thinking about stuff. Is that like in the beginning it was I had to be picked by someone else.
Yes. Yeah, sure.
You know, it was always out there, this weird place that you cannot define of like someone has to choose me as opposed to, because you don't forget I started as an actor.
Yeah.
So, and still sometimes it seeps in as a filmmaker of like, is someone going to allow me to do this? And now that is all out of the way, because with the Kill Room, I largely did it, on my own merits. I mean, I have great producers and they had to put up money and all this stuff, but I'm handing you a script with Samuel L. Jackson and Uma Thurman. You're lucky to have this.
Yeah, and it's a good place to be, for sure. Is there one bit of advice you would give your earlier self trying to break into the industry? I mean, maybe that was just the advice you gave just now, but if there's anything else, just before we sort of wrap up. Yeah,
I think your people who are going to help you aren't these... They are. It is, but it isn't. It's not these people who are way up here. It's like the people in your classes and your peers are the ones you're all going to grow up together.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to pull you into something, and somebody else is going to, by you focusing on you and your work, people are going to be inspired by you, and each like new sort of job or accolade or thing you achieve, people are watching.
Yeah.
And they are going to be inspired by you if you stick with your own vision and your own thing. Like, don't look around at who's doing what. It's so easy to compare.
Yeah, that's really good advice, actually. And actually, by focusing on your own thing, you're not focusing on some big unattainable career goal. You're actually focusing on making something good. And I think people really identify with that, for sure.
It's steps.
Listen, this has been an absolutely delightful chat, and I wish you all the success with the movie.
Thank you so much. You as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. And good luck with everything. And nice to chat.
Great chatting with you.
There we go. That was Nicole Paone talking about her films, Friendsgiving, but her latest film, The Kill Room, which is out now, starring Uma Thurman and Samuel L. Jackson. Very, very cool and very good. And how interesting and insightful for you as filmmakers, and how you can go out there and do exactly the same as Nicole has done, or do it your way. Make things happen your way.
And don't be fooled into thinking that this is a this is a kind of a blockbuster episode. This is definitely an indie success story where an independent movie has got really, really high level cast, and Nicole's sort of gone very high very quickly in the filmmaking path.
There we go. Right. Well, thank you so much for listening. Myself and Dom have just watched England win a very, very tense round of 16 match.
Yeah.
And it just hurts my heart, to be honest. I don't know if I can take this anymore.
What are you doing to us, Gareth?
I know, it really hurts. For those who don't know, this is England football in the Euros, and I'm a huge fan, as is Dom, and it just hurts. I don't know what to say. No, we're through. My heart hurts. I kind of wanted him to get knocked out so I could just stop my heart hurting every time we play. It's depressing. I don't want that, obviously, but anyway. Enough of that. Toby's Austria are still in, so there is that too. We could meet them in the
Austria
semi-final. Let's see. Who knows? Anyway, in the meantime, do go out there and make your films and TV shows and documentaries and whatever else it is, and let us know how you're getting on. Write in the comments. Write on Twitter or X at FilmmakersPod, or on Instagram, thefilmmakerspodcast.com. Follow me at Joz Alderson. Follow Dom at de Dom Lemoir. Or on Instagram, director Dom Lemoir.
Not spelled D-U-H, like the... I always say dear.
Dear? Do you say dear? People spell it D-E-A.
It's D-I-R. It's like dear.
Like director.
I mean, I suppose if you search for Dom Lenoir, you'll probably find me, and then you'll see the whatever.
I struggle sometimes when I'm trying to tag you. It's.
I mean, you struggle sometimes anyway.
Yeah, in life, but finding your name as well. Yeah.
I mean, I guess they click on the link and they say, oh, yeah, directed by name, directed by nature. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Simple as that.
Even though you're also a producer. Yeah.
Yes.
Should be filmmaker Dom Lenoir, right? Link to Dom's Twitter handle and his Instagram, where you can find many hilarious memes and puns, is in the show notes.
Well, I actually got told off for not memeing, the other day.
What?
Today.
What idiot did that?
Well, I'm not going to name names, but it became a full-time occupation through COVID, and now it's probably like once every 2 weeks I'll do like a proper meme drop. But it takes a lot of time to source the kind of, I'm not putting out any like any half amateur memes.
No,
I curate the best to the best, and that takes time and thought.
You get the best Hawk Tour, don't you? The best Hawk Tour memes.
I've been very selective with the Hawk Tour ones because a lot of them aren't funny. They're not that funny.
No, a lot of them aren't funny. Yeah, no. It's true.
So I did find a very, very good one, which was with the Home Alone Marv character over the Hawk Tour thing, which was very, very funny.
No, I've not seen that one.
Well, it should still be around. Maybe not for you viewers, but maybe you can find it online yourself. That's a very, very amusing one.
They are funny, some of your memes, and you are funny, Dom. I have laughed.
Yes, thank you.
I've also groaned many times, but that's not in a sexual way. In a way that is.
I think that was some of my best material was at the panel the other week, actually.
Do you know what? Yeah, some of your best material was there. Yeah, Teresa, again, could you let us know if that is the case?
Yes.
Because I'd love to know, because Dom really thought he was on form, and really good to know if you thought he wasn't. So
yes. Yep.
Yeah. No, you were great. So anyway, but I think our point was on the panel.
Was there a point? There was a point?
Yes. There was.
Yeah,
that was it. You need to come to panels or networking events. You need to hear people speak and talk to people and, chat to them afterwards. That's how work breeds. That's how things happen. We've met some great people at talks and panels. That's what we're saying from that. So anyway, we might have Dustin Curtis Murphy on next week, talking all about his film Coyote, which
we might not.
I'll give him some advice on. Yeah, but we might not. It's definitely coming up. I hope we can do that soon.
It's kind of the Wild West at the moment. We're sort of just about cleared the backlog of awards season films, which has really gone on a long time.
A lot of awards
this season because we had so many, and then we had a few like cheeky early, Maybank holiday, early summer blockbusters. So we've got a little bit of a gap, and we're just trying to get everything out and make sure all our episodes are hunky dory before the next onslaught. But they're all great episodes. Something we realised is it doesn't matter. I mean, don't just go on who the film is and whether they've got a big actor or whether it's this kind of thing that you're interested in, because sometimes the indie guests are just as good as the Hollywood guests and vice versa, and sometimes the way that a Hollywood guest got to where they are is like a real indie ragtag way, and sometimes it's the other way around. So there's always so much to learn, and it's always completely different each time. So more of the story is make sure you listen to all 400 and something episodes of the Filmmakers Podcast and donate to Giles' Pension Fund.
Thank you. 404 episodes. This is the 404, so therefore 403 before this. If you've enjoyed this and you want more similar episodes on directors fighting their way through the indie scene, then you couldn't go wrong by listening to Oliver Krimpass. He's been on recently, as well as Matthew Butler Hart and Tori Butler Hart. Also, Dana Kippel, not too long ago as well. And Sam Freeman and Chun Ping talking about their film Femme. So there's some recent ones. Nadine Crocker talking about Desperation Road, which Dom did as well.
Oh, classic. Yeah. Just to let you know, 404 is also the error code when a server could not find a requested web page. So if you can't find episode 404 of the Filmmakers Podcast, just go onto the website and find it that way.
There we go. They won't know that because they'll either be listening to it.
Well, this is true. No one will hear this bit of information if they did find such error code.
Yes, correct.
There we go. But if you're in programming and maybe you just found that funny, because no one else will.
Until next Tuesday, thank you so much for listening. You are amazing. Believe in yourself. I'm talking to you.
Me?
Do it. Do something this week. No, not you. Do something this week to make your film, TV show happen. I mean it. You can do that.
Yeah.
Go to that networking event, send that email, and if you're lucky enough to rise up and do well, it is your duty to
send the elevator back down.
We will see you next Tuesday, as always. Take care, everyone. Thanks for listening. Bye, Dom.
Bye, Giles.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
No, you take care.
Okay, I will. Bye.
Bye.